The peace of Christ, which is beyond all understanding, is meant to persist in the midst of storms. And so if I don't have peace, it's a matter of bringing myself back into right relationship with Christ. Chris Bruno, he's this really notable Catholic speaker. He talks about this notion of interior recollection, which is meant to persist in the midst of difficult circumstances. And basically, he cites two movies to illustrate this point. So the first movie is The Lord of the Rings. And he talks about Gandalf. And he begins with this rhetorical question. Does Gandalf have the capacity to fight? Totally. And he's really good at it. Does he have the will to fight? Absolutely. But here's the point. He doesn't need to fight. I don't need to fight. I don't need to be busy. I don't need to be frantic. I am perfectly content to sit at the back of a cart with my hobbit friends, smoking a pipe and whistling a tune. You find a similar thing when it comes to Empire Strikes Back. Luke Skywalker, remember how he goes to the Dagobah system, he's looking for Yoda, and he doesn't recognize Yoda because he's green? This can't be the Jedi Master. He starts complaining about the universe and the Force and the light and the dark and my friends, and the stakes are high and the pressure's on. And Yoda's like, let's just sit down and have some stew. And Luke is still freaking out. But the universe, no, just come to my little hovel and let's sit down and have a chat. And the fact that Luke can't sit down and have stew and have a chat, the problem is not the universe. The problem is not Yoda. The problem is him. There's a certain disorder in his heart which prevents him from having peace in the midst of chaos. And here's the thing. If you can't have peace in the midst of chaos, you will never have peace. There will always be problems. There will always be difficulties, battles to fight, problems to solve. But there is always the Lord. And so because of that fact alone, your hearts must never be troubled. You must never be afraid.